and welcome back to WSPR, The Whisper, also now at The Whisper on Bubble, Seashallow's best and only news sending. I'm Alistair Featherbright, your host, and I am here with my compatriots, Princess Rivulet Starfish of the Kingdom of Notlantis.
Hello.
The Bard, Renton Connolly.
At your service.
And the Mercenary of the Scarlet Ospreys, Mr. Gay-lynn.
At your service.
Yes. Well, it's been quite an interesting and exciting little bit of time. I suppose I just would like to know if someone can sort of summarize what happened as we have left the tourney and made our way back to the city. Don't all speak at once. The sending is very delicate.
Well, it's been a wild time out there, I'll tell you. We thought
One might say a whale of a time.
A whale of a time, yeah. Boy, do we have a tale for you.
Yes.
Yeah, well, just try not to interrupt before we finish.
I shall endeavor to do my best, but you're not making it easy.
All right, so the scales were set against us. As we had already seen these aberrations tearing through the delicate fabric of the space-time continuum within these aberrations pouring out, we decided to follow some suspicious characters that we saw, seemingly, laissez-faire cavalier in the midst of these horrors.
They were all wearing red.
Mm-hmm. Usually my favorite color, but now I'm not so sure.
And if I'm not mistaken, you have seen some of these red-robed figures engaged in similar nefarious activities.
Oh, yeah.
Well, so Princess, I understand you managed to, pursue them aquatically.
Oh, yes. I became a whale, as one does, and I tried to destroy their ships, which... Back home, we used to be a sport of some of my friends, not me, of course.
Of course not.
And was somewhat successful and somewhat not so successful. And then I ate one, and then it came out of my stomach, and that was kind of gross and a little bit painful. Does anyone know where Henry is?
I was going to ask the same question of you, but it's possible that he was left behind at the tourney.
Yeah, don't worry. You'll see him when we go back. Hunting these aberrations.
Now, Renton, I understand you also took what we should call a non-lethal tactic in subduing these creatures.
Yes, well, I tried to do my best to engage in all forms of trickery, as you know I like to do. First, dressing up like their nefarious leader, Theobald. And
I do love your coat. It's magical.
Right. Well, it's very nice to be able to have it change color. So, of course, I changed it to the red color of their own crimson naughtiness and feigned relations with Theobald. And then I believe I cast a crown of madness on one of them.
Oh, yeah. That was pretty violent, man.
To attack the other boat driver. But even though he got hit in the face with a scimitar while rowing, it didn't seem to slow him up that much. But
yeah,
then
those guys
eventually we got them subdued.
It's almost as if normal laws of physics and medicine don't always apply for some strange reason.
Right. Well, I've never really had much use for the laws of physics myself.
Fair enough.
Hey listeners, Colin here, just cutting in for a quick moment to say thanks for listening. We hope you're really enjoying the show. We are having so much fun making it and getting to play together, and hopefully you're having fun listening. We'd really love it if you would leave us a 5-star rating on whatever platform you're listening to us on. Maybe even go one more minute further and leave us a review. We love reading them. It makes us feel great, and we will give you a shout out on the show as soon as you do that. If you really love us, and we hope you do, head on over to patreon.com/therollreport. And maybe you can give us whatever you can spare a month. For as little as $2 a month, you'll support this show and everyone involved in making it. A little bit more, and you won't have to listen to me or anyone else asking you for money or telling you about our social media handles. That's right, on Instagram and TikTok the Roll Report cast. You can find exclusive new art, all sorts of cool stuff, little edited videos of the interviews that you might not have heard even, and so much more. Thank you all so much for listening. We love doing this, and we hope you are having fun with us. Back to the show.
So if we then, pursued them through the portal back towards the city of Sea Shallow, away from the tourney, and hopefully the tourney is still underway and safe. What happened once we reached the city? It was all happening quite quickly.
Oh,
Wait,
man.
But what about your amazing glove making?
Well, that's where it all happened, really. The fabric of time, the very essence, the curtain, the veil between planes was ripped asunder. And these terrible beings cruised out, and we fought them. We killed them. I slashed one with my scimitar and then shoved my hand in perfectly through its orifices, forming the delicate and almost ridiculously well-fitting fingerless gloves that I'm still wearing, actually. You got to wear them till they dry out, or they won't dry into the right shape.
Well, may I ask, what's the texture like?
Oh, it's like cow slip leather.
Interesting.
Yeah, I got one of them on my own, and then the guy, drawn guy, killed another, and I just went swooped in there with my hand. Waste not, want not. That's what the octopuses always said, except they said it like this.
Oh, your dialect is very...
It's very specific.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a really rare one.
I can see that 9 is excitedly waving at that. He must have understood.
Yeah, it's a common saying that we say.
Does 9 have the same accent, or is 9 from a different part of the ocean?
9's from a different part of the ocean.
Oh, okay. Fascinating.
But they can understand each other, and I can understand too.
Wow.
Renton, and then will you tell us about your experience reading into the minds of these red-robed figures?
Yes, well, the first one that I attempted to magically interrogate was not very helpful. He was the one suffering from the less severe axe wounds, as I recall. But as I attempted to probe his mind for certain important information about these red-cloaked ruffians, he resisted my magical probings with a very strong set of training to reject interrogations. And so unfortunately that failed, but luckily we were able to get some more helpful information from the other one, who was nearly on the point of death's door, and that's probably why he forgot his training, and I was able to break into the depths of his mind and memory. And then we were able to find out the location of the safe house that they were meant to meet back at as a result of deepening into the depths of his psyche.
Could you explain what it's like to be in another mind? Like, do each mind have a different feeling or
Smell? Or like psychic smell?
or color?
The most important
Texture?
somatic experience I have is of hearing. I hear not only the main process monologue of consciousness, if you will, but also voices of other memories inveighing upon the central theme that I'm in there to explore, if you will. In terms of olfactory experiences, to your question, Gay-lynn, there are very strong smells associated with the memory, and that also does emerge as I probe deeper.
And where spatially is it? Like in your head, in a certain area? Like when I'm hearing Gay-lynn and you talking, I can hear it in the direction of where you're coming from. I'm just not. Could you explain more about that directional? I've just never done it before, so I'm very curious.
Yes. Well, interestingly, I would say that the experience is more sonic and olfactory than it is spatio-temporal, if you will. That may be a feature of the spell itself, or perhaps my own lack of strength in kinesthetic awareness.
Thank you.
Well, what a beautiful thing to revisit our triumph and also interrogate the mind of our friend here.
Certainly was remarkable. And, well, we hope to bring you the next update from our adventures in pursuit of these red robes. I suppose, I'm sorry, you look like you have something to add.
Well, I was just wondering if this is the location that you always run off to.
Well, currently, yes. I realize it is simply a basement.
Yes, it's a bit...
Well, you
musty.
see, as with many things, WSPR does not have its own source of income streams to rent better studio equipment.
Would you like some coal?
Well, I suppose we can discuss a business arrangement, perhaps not while we are send casting, although I am deeply appreciative.
Sure.
Wonderful. Well then, yes, please do, purchase your receiving stones from Miss Skylar Crowspark in the Third Ring, and WSPR will continue to bring you news and updates from the city and the wider world beyond. Yes, well, thank you all for joining me, and I suppose back towards the second barracks on the left then.
Right.
Follow me on Bubble.
Yes, follow the princess, follow at the Whisper and Bubble as well. Wonderful.